In the headlines, Nigerian Governors Forum warns of CBN-induced recession over cash swap policy. Zamfara police rescue kidnapped victims in Kebbi. Traders count losses as Inferno raises shops in Anambra market. And on the foreign scene, death toll from Turkey-Syria quake crosses 36,000 as calls mount for more Syria aid. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. Ahead of Wednesday's sitting of the Supreme Court to decide on the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian Governors Forum has urged its members to support the legal battle on the policy against the federal government at the Apex Court. In a communique issued Sunday after its meeting on Saturday in Abuja, the NGF directed attorneys general of the 36 states to review the suit at the Supreme Court with a view to consolidating the legal reliefs pursued by states. Rising from the meeting, the governor said the country is at risk of recession, which will be the result of CBN's Naira exchange policy. In the communique signed by NGF chairperson and governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, the governors across party lines criticized CBN over the handling of the policy, adding that the resulting Naira scarcity is causing hardship for Nigerians. They accused the Apex Bank of conducting a currency confiscation program that is causing suffering for Nigerians. The governors also called for the halting of CBN's plan to end the use of the old currency notes after two deadlines failed to end Naira scarcity across the country. Nigerians are changing their spending habits to cope with the limited Naira notes in circulation. The default mode has been to rely on electronic transactions, but the unstable services offered by banks has not helped matters. Silas Lowen reports that a sizable number of small businesses in Yola are either closed or forced to transact business through cash transfers while living under the fear of fake alerts. The report.
This is the GSM side of Jamaica Shopping Complex. Before the cashless policy of the government, business boomed and most transactions were in cash. The limited Naira notes in circulation is not only hampering the smooth running of business, but is also impacting negatively on family activities.
Most of the countries that are practicing these cashless policies goes through it gradually. No country will just come out and say, we put a debt on you like 2-3 months. Bring all the old notes and we'll give you new notes. No, the process have to go gradually. This is how most of the countries of the world practice this.
The business is not like before. Now we operate at low key. Before, this market used to be filled with customers from different places. Our family needs is almost going beyond what we earn per day, because we hardly have 5,000 Naira cash in a day. These citizens are faulting the implementation of the policy, which they say has more negative consequences than benefit.
Matsalan transfer din nan sai ka samu wani zai zo sayan abun zai zo dalilin rashin kyawun network.
Issues of fake alerts are also on the rampage. You see a customer coming to your shop thinking he come to patronize you, but unfortunately, if care is not taken, his intent was to dump you with fake alert.
We
expected this government since from the beginning of this policy to have a rethink, but unfortunately they did not. People are facing more challenges. I have a belief that this policy was implemented hands off down.
Another bone of contention is the services offered by banks and the network providers, which need to be improved if the cashless policy must work.
We say that the government didn't plan well for this, because it would have been gradually introduced to us, not as sudden as this. The issue we are facing now, one of the biggest issues is this network problem. Customers will come to you, patronize your product, even buy it, but to exchange your product and the money, that is where the problem is. the transfer is not going well.
Many believe that the cash crunch has affected the spending mentality of Nigerians. Silas Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Commercial drivers in the Federal Capital Territory are now rejecting old Naira notes as a result of the CBN deadline which elapsed on Friday. Kabir Lawal in this report mirrors the ordeal of Abuja residents at the hands of commercial drivers. His report.
Since the deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria for the validity of old Naira notes passed on Friday, Nigerians have been worried the Supreme Court had restrained the Apex Bank from invalidating the old notes from being legal tender. But the ruling is neither here or there, since there has been no pronouncement from the CBN going back on the deadline. Some drivers in the FCT are no longer receiving the old Naira notes. They claim most filling stations in the FCT have started rejecting the old currency.
We spend our money mostly in the filling station. So some of the filling stations are refusing to collect the old money. Like for example now, this one here is collecting. So there are many other ones that when you go there with old money, they will say they won't collect the old money.
Well, before they collect the money, but now, because they give us on 10, since now on 10, people don't want to collect it. They on 10, even that very 10 said, I mean, they tackle everybody here, say me that they collect out until we go filling station, go one filling station, they don't collect.
As if to compound this issue, the drivers further explained that they find it difficult to spend the old notes because nobody will accept it from them except the filling stations.
You don't have anywhere to spend the money. The driver is not taking the money to, if the driver collect money, he has to spend it. But now, most especially, just like I said before, the filling station, they will not accept the money from you, and that is the easiest place we can take the money to.
They have to know, we go there, they don't want to collect. But since that on 10, they don't even collect it again.
So how is this impacting on residents?
The people now announcing that CBN said that the money will stop being illegal tender from February 10, and which is now we are in February 12. So you see, so there is panic everywhere. People are just afraid of collecting the money, and they will say that the money has stopped being illegal tender.
Some are collecting the old money, some are not collecting it. So, and it's affecting us because the old money is not yet been eradicated. Most people, plenty of people have the old money. So the money is still in circulation. And the new money is not more in circulation like that.
No, even petrol station don't really collect old money.
So why is it like that?
I don't know, that's from government, this is how they are cheating us. Even when you go to POS, it's old money that you are still giving us. Old money is still plenty more than new money.
Any country we have analysts in any country. So before this, the analysts should have find a means of what will happen before and what will happen after.
We send money to my parents, may they use the money using, buy food to use where they chop. They don't get the money where to use it, they don't collect the old one.
Nigerians are anxiously waiting for the president to make a definite pronouncement on the Naira redesign policy to suit frayed nerves. Many citizens see his apparent reluctance to do so as indifference to the hardship being faced by Nigerians. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Naira redesign policy has continued to negatively impact on markets in the rural areas, causing traders to sell at a loss. The shortfall in Naira has kept customers away, particularly because many people who trade at these markets do not have bank accounts and therefore cannot accept transfers. Yusuf Bauro went around the weekly markets in and around Jalingo. His report is presented from our studios.
The price of foodstuff in rural markets is on a free fall. A 100 kg bag of maize, which previously sold at the rate of 25,000 naira, is now 12,000 naira. Even at that, there is no one to buy because there is no cash to make purchases.
The changing of currency is good, but honestly it affected us. Even as I am now, since in the morning I could not sell. What I sold is only one thing since from morning. So, but the problem is that people can't withdraw. To transfer, there is no network. The ATM, there's no money. So it affected not I only, both other business people.
The situation at the Jalingo Metropolis market is equally grave. Traders are rejecting old Naira notes while new currency is not in circulation. It means there is hardly any trading going on. It gives room for unnecessary elements to operate.
As you can see, I wanted to buy rice. I want to buy rice. I cannot buy. I have been very hungry since morning. I just want to buy rice. The rice seller says I must bring cash, but it doesn't have POS. I say, let me do transfer. He said, no, he doesn't understand transfer. That I must bring cash. Where is the cash? No cash. It's a very big challenge.
To make matters worse, transacting businesses through electronic cash transfers is tedious due to fluctuating services from network providers. Traders who sell perishable goods are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Accessing cash at banks and automated teller machines is a no-go area as they are not dispensing cash. This man who came all the way from the village to withdraw cash is stranded.
As you can see, these 2 days, USDD is not working. There's no, even sometimes it works. If you transfer the money to a person, he couldn't at least receive the alert in time. So, apart from that still, from my village to the town here, I have to spend almost 4,000 naira from Bambur to Jalingo. And my bank is only paying 10,000 naira in a day, which is First Bank. So this thing have really affected us because there is no way a person that can withdraw 10,000 naira, you are expecting that person to come and spend almost 8,000 naira. And sometimes we slept here. You can see our mats here, just waiting to get this money.
A large percentage of tribal citizens are not salary earners. Many earn a daily wage. It is therefore not surprising to learn that many people here believe that the disadvantages of the cash swap policy far outweigh the benefits.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to allow old and new 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes to coexist as legal tenders for the next 12 months. This was contained in a statement by Tinubu made available to newsmen by one of his campaign spokesperson, Festus Keyamo, on Sunday. The APC flag bearer also asked the Apex Bank to suspend all charges associated with online transactions and bank transfers till current crisis is resolved. The former Lagos State Governor further asked the CBN to mobilize all money deposit banks and payment platforms to show clear commitment and timelines on expanding their infrastructure and support services. Police command in Zamfara says it has succeeded in the rescue of one Abdurrahman Abubakar, who was kidnapped in Kebbi State after spending 3 days in captivity. The command spokesperson, SP Muhammad Shehu, made the disclosure in a statement issued on Sunday in Gusau. He said on February 10, the command's tactical operatives on confidence-building rescue mission operation along Zafe, Kucheri, Yankara Federal Highway succeeded in the rescue of a 20-year-old Abdurrahman Abubakar, a native of Gwandu Emirate in Kebbi State. The rescue of the victim was part of the command's ongoing efforts to stem the tide of kidnapping and other related crime in the state. The victim informed the police that he was abducted in Gwandu town, Kebbi State, by unidentified persons on motorcycles. The Department of State Services has invited Femi Fani-Kayode, an All Progressives Congress chieftain, over his allegation of an attempted coup allegedly being planned. Fani-Kayode announced the DSS's invitation in a statement issued on Monday morning. The APC chieftain said he would honor the invitation because he had nothing to fear, adding that he would continue to express his feelings as long as he has life in him. In a series of tweets on Saturday, Fani-Kayode had said he learned that Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the PDP, had a secret meeting with some army generals. The defense headquarters had subsequently denied the meeting, pledging its commitment to democracy. In a statement which his special assistant on public communications, Frank Shaibu, issued on his behalf, Atiku said allegations and insinuations of a coup should not be taken lightly, given the fact that it is treason, an offense that carries a death penalty. While commending the Nigerian military for effectively rubbishing Fani-Kayode's barefaced lie, he called on security agencies to invite him to shed more light on the allegations. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How Naira scarcity affects e-payment policy in Kaduna hospitals. Stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update, a recap of our top stories. We told you that Nigeria Governors Forum warns of CBN-induced recession over cash swap policy. We also told you that Zamfara police rescue kidnapped victim in Kebbi. Moving to other stories, no fewer than 5 shops within the premises of the Onitsha General Post Office along Old Market Road, Anambra State, have been gutted by fire. Reports say the fire started around 12:30 midnight on Sunday as a result of a power surge which emanated from one of the shops. Eyewitnesses say as the fire was about to escalate into a nearby filling station close to the scene, it created panic, adding that people and members of local vigilante groups quickly intervened to control the fire. Goods and property worth millions of naira were said to have been destroyed in the fire. The State Fire Chief, Martin Agbili, did not respond to calls and a text message sent to his telephone line regarding the development as of the time of filing this report. Despite directives by the Kaduna State government, public hospitals are yet to start accepting only electronic transfers for payment of hospital bills, and most patients at public hospitals in Kaduna are still paying in cash because most patients do not have bank accounts, while those that have are hampered by poor network issues. Bello Musa reports.
The no-cash payment was introduced by the Kaduna State government to ease the difficulties faced by the patient in paying their hospital bills due to the present cashless policy. Ironically, while most patients are facing difficulties in accessing the cash to settle their hospital bills, they are not even aware of this new policy. I don't know of the policy because no enough sensitization was given, especially on media or street billboards, for people to know of the policy. Besides, people visit hospitals from rural communities and they don't have bank accounts. There are supposed to be more awareness on how to pay hospital bills to ease our difficulties amidst this cashless policy.
If these are the measures, I would say it's the right time. So we, the citizens, we could adapt.
But the fault may not be that of the hospitals, as sources have revealed that barely 10 out of 100 people who visit public hospitals have bank accounts, whether they are patients or their relatives. This is why public hospitals are still accepting cash payment. Sadly, patients have to go the extra miles to source for cash to settle their bills before seeking treatment at public hospitals. It is difficult to pay hospital bills. I went to the ATM to get money to come to the hospital, but I met 254 people on the queue. In addition, POS operators charge are prohibitive for withdrawal.
Due to the network issues, sometimes network issue is a challenge due to the process of maybe if I want to transfer now, the network might, it's either the money might bounce back or something might happen, and you ask, we will end up waiting and wasting a lot of time.
The consequences of little or no access to cash are amplified in hospitals, and it is not just limited to settling hospital bills. Patients on admission are also suffering on hospital beds as the scarcity of both the redesign and all Naira note is impacting negatively on them. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
New Nigeria People's Party and All Progressives Congress are trading words over campaign violence in Kano State. Addressing a news conference, State Chairman of the NNPP, Haruna Doguwa, urged security agencies to call the ruling APC to order to ensure violence-free campaign activities. Idris Jibrin reports.
Addressing reporters over what he called harassment and intimidation of his party supporters and officials, Chairman of the New Nigeria People's Party in Kano, Haruna Doguwa, accused the ruling APC of promoting violence campaign ahead of the February 25th and March 11th elections.
With the election drawing closer by the day, Kano State government is faced with the reality of imminent defeat at the polls. It has therefore devised a devilish means of manipulating election through attack and intimidation of members of the opposition parties, using primarily political thugs and some police personnel who ordinarily ought to be apolitical in the discharge of their responsibility. 11 days after the unfortunate attack on the country home of one of our leading members who served as Director of Intelligence and Strategy, Barrister Muhimaga Jirimungado, which occurred at Trimungado local government after the visit of our gubernatorial candidate, Abba Kabir Yusuf, the police were seen raiding his Sharaɗa residence again at around 9:30 p.m. on Tuesday 7th.
But a statement released by the APC gubernatorial campaign spokesman Muhammad Garba says his party is fully committed to peaceful campaigning, unlike the opposition NNPP, which he says is resorting to violence. According to the New Nigeria People's Party, however, supporters of the All Progressive Congress have repeatedly attacked their supporters and intimidates several members of the party, especially during their campaign rallies across the state.
The police who failed to receive and treat the complaint of NNPP members of Dambata, Take, and Moko government have now resorted to harassment and intimidation of our members, including some candidates of the party, campaign spokespersons, social media activists, and the Director General of the campaign, Dr. Ali Abubakar Ali Haruna Makoda. We are not unaware of the plans by the APC-led administration in Kano State to frame our members in the build-up to election in order to intimidate them and pave way for election rigging.
Be that as it may, these political parties have tasks to accomplish and electoral promises to deliver if they are to gain the confidence of the electorate in Kano, who will head to the polls in few days' time. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Lagos State Government has ordered shutdown of Chrisland International School pending outcome of an investigation to unravel the circumstances surrounding the death of a pupil, Whitney Adeniran, who died during the school's inter-house sports at Agege Stadium in the Agege area of the state. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, confirmed the development on Sunday. He said they're investigating the matter, but as a first step, they shut down the school to allow for a full investigation. Meanwhile, the victim's father, Michael Adeniran, has demanded a probe of the circumstances surrounding his daughter's death and urged the Lagos State government to intervene in the matter so justice could prevail. On the international scene, rescuers continue to pull out more survivors from the rubble in Turkey and Syria as the death toll from last week's earthquakes topped 36,000. The quakes have killed at least 31,643 people in Turkey as of Monday and more than 4,500 in Syria. The United Nations says up to 5.3 million people in Syria may be homeless after the earthquakes. Nearly 900,000 people are in urgent need of hot food in Turkey and Syria. In Syria, aid from government-held regions into rebel-controlled territory has been held up by approval issues with the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham armed group. The UN aid chief, Martini Griffith, has said the world has so far failed people in northwest Syria, saying survivors there rightly feel abandoned. The United States has called on the UN Security Council to authorize the delivery of supplies to rebel-held territory through more border crossings from Turkey. And finally, in sports, Nigeria's under-20 national team, the Flying Eagles, came back from a goal down to beat Congo 2-1 in a friendly on Sunday night. It was Ladan Bosso's side first game since they arrived in Morocco last week Friday for the final lap of their preparations for the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. Despite dominating the early exchanges, the Flying Eagles fell behind on 21 minutes after Onahue Salomon scored for the Congolese. However, substitute Emmanuel Uchegbu drew the Flying Eagles level in the 66th minute courtesy of a solo effort. Another sub, Olamilekan Adams, put Nigeria in front in the 74th minute with a superb header off the cross by Augustine Njoku to make it 2-1 in favor of the Flying Eagles. The team, led by coach Ladan Bosso, have thus gone 18 games unbeaten. They will play a final test game Wednesday against Central African Republic, who have also qualified for the Under-20 AFCON. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.